Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me? Thank you. Would you like to take your seats and we'll get going for tonight's session? And what a great session we've got lined up for you tonight. 39 images in PI6. A chance for us to hear the judge's critique. A chance for us to see other people's images, those brave enough to put them in. I can hear you, actually. More than I can hear myself. I wonder if I need to go up a little bit, please. I wasn't being rude. I was just thinking I can hear you more than I can hear me. Is that better for you? Okay, I'll start again. Thank you. I don't want to admit this, but I actually forgot I was emceeing tonight. And I was thinking, I couldn't find it on my, I was scrolling through my emails looking for the list. I didn't put it in my phone, so I do apologize. If there's anyone new here tonight, show of hands. Welcome. Welcome. Yes, I met you just earlier and your husband's with you, is that correct? No. I should go home now. You two did join up, is that right? Yes. And this is two new. Welcome. So you'll get to see how we operate. It's not that good so far, hey? We've got the projection image 6. If you look on the website, tonight is the hand-in for the PI7, which is landscape, which I did very quickly just before I got here. So how prepared am I tonight? That's really cool. Next week, the print competition is closing, so if you've brought your prints along tonight, you'll take... Yes, Janine and Diane will take them. Also next week, we're going away, the weekend after, we're going away on the 28th, so it's the Laurie Thomas Winter School. So that'll be very exciting, our annual trip down to the snow. We're hoping for some very cold weather. I think we might get it. I just hope that we can get there. You know, I organise that, so watch out. No, I'm only joking. If you need to escape out of here quickly, there are exits either side of the stage. The front door's out the back here, and the toilets are out that way as well. And I think I've covered everything. Janine is going to read the comments for tonight's judging, and John's going to introduce the judge for tonight's PI6. So without further ado, I'll hand over.
Thank you, Heidi. Tonight we've got the results from PI number 6. This was judged by Irene Callahan. She can't be with us tonight, but she sent me a bio and some comments. So to read out from her bio, I belong to the Nelson Camera Club, which is a strong, competitive and welcoming club. I became an accredited judge about 7 years ago and enjoy mentoring the newer members. I've recently purchased a Canon R5 mirrorless camera, which has impressed me very much and is also about half the weight of my old camera. I'm lucky to have a partner who shares my enthusiasm for photography. It helps me have someone who is supportive and does not mind when I yell to stop an umpteenth time while we're travelling. John is the technical half of our relationship and balances my artistic side. I consider photography to be an art form, and I often spend the early hours of the morning experimenting to see when I can make an image. I believe if we do the same thing every time, we will get the same result and make the same mistakes. So she writes a comment also about the images that she judged, and she says, "It has been a real pleasure to critique your images this month. There were some stunning images for me to enjoy, and I found the most impressive images generally had strong composition and clean lines. There are some very strong graphic designs in the top scoring images, and in some others, the quality of the light really stood out for me. I find some photographers had a strong emotional attachment to the moment when they took the photo, and they did not stand back later and critique with the eye and evaluate their image. Often only minor adjustments can be made to make a large difference. Some images were cropped a little tightly or perhaps not enough, or a slight adjustment to the lighting would have helped." She says, "Congratulations to all those who entered. I found the standard was high." So there were 39 entries, there were 19 acceptances to evaluate their image. Often only minor adjustments can be made to make a large difference.
Acceptance rate.
Some images were cropped a little tightly or perhaps not enough, or a slight adjustment.
55%.
And she wrote back to me saying, "Congratulations to your club for an excellent result from the North Shore Salon recently. These statistics alone show that CPS has a very high standard. I feel the entries were worthy of the grades awarded and that I was consistent in evaluating them. It is difficult to knock back deserving images for the sake of statistics, so this is just the way I felt about them." So Janine's going to read the comments tonight.
Written now? Cool, thank you. Right, score 1. Seal pups playing among Kaikoura rocks. I feel that possibly an anti-noise treatment used in post-production has smoothed this image a little too far, and the fur and eyes in particular have begun to lose detail and look plastic. Don't be afraid of a little noise if this was indeed what has caused this effect. Hang on. I think I've hit the... Yep, over there now. Sorry, learner at controls. Donkey distribution. The filter you have applied has distracted me from the content of a strong PJ type image. I suggest you go back to your original file and reprocess this image as the composition is strong. The addition of some contrast would help to bring out the detail. Morning in the mist. It is brave of you to be out taking images on such a cold morning. The curve of the bank and the mist on the water give some interest. However, the pines are a dark wall that suck up the light. I feel a different view may have worked better for you. PJ New Zealand Power. NZL is racing on its foils and the intense concentration is apparent on the face of the sailor. I feel this is a very tight crop and more room around the NZL logo and the word power would be welcomed. Score 2. Thalasaki Kauta, New Zealand White Capped Albatross. Good exposure on the white feathers, but perhaps including the head in the reflection would help the composition as it is cropped through the eye and feels uncomfortable to me. I do feel the bird is rather static in the image and some activity would help your score here. Green droplet. It is not easy to time these droplet images, but this one has a lovely umbrella. I question the amount of background and would suggest reducing this by half. I think the rule of thirds would work well here. A glow amongst the ferns. I am aware of how tiny these fungi are and how difficult it is to include some of the gills in the image, plus also get the stalk in focus as they generally grow quite close to the ground. Take a tripod with you and try focus stacking, which will give you better depth of field, and perhaps practice this with a flower at home before you try with fungi. Resisting the flow. The river appears to be placed in front of a layered background consisting of a curtain of falling water, which feels a little unnatural to me, although it has been well combined. I would recommend that the dark rock on the left is lightened a little. The pose of a tui. A beautiful tui that appears a little oversaturated as the white tuft of feathers appears to have a blue tone. He has been positioned with good room in front, however the crop is too tight at the base and on the right side. I would like to see the feet and the tail included. The background has the appearance of being smoothed, perhaps by the clone tool. I feel some green foliage in the background would help to balance the blues. Score 3, so this is the first of the acceptances. The rose. The rose has a perfect bud shape and is a soft shade of pale apricot fading to cream. I can see noise, which I don't mind, although I would like to see a little more of the base of the rose, which a portrait view may have given us. The flames of dawn. I immediately felt a sense of doom when I looked at this apocalyptic-like image. The colour red enhances the feeling of danger, and the skull-like shape suggests to me that many individuals are trapped within the layers of flames. I felt lost without a clearer point to hold my interest, although this may have been the author's intention. A place I would rather avoid, thank you. On the charge. There is a feeling that all the players are anticipating the moment of contact against the central player. Well cropped to eliminate distractions. Perhaps black and white might make more of the emotional expressions by taking away the colour. The future champion. There is determination in the face and eyes and a strong grip on the handles. This, together with the tense body posture, conveys the will to win. I like the way the bright orange is repeated in the helmet. I feel if you followed the bike with a panning technique and gave more of a sense of the speed, this would give more urgency and interest to your image. Trees at winter's approach. I can feel the cold bleakness of the winter landscape, reminding me of all the rain we've had recently. The sun has been sadly lacking. The pool in the foreground reflects the tree branches and leads us into your image where the light in the background contrasts with the darker tree trunks. Landscape, Paris. A different view of the Eiffel Tower here than I normally see. The road makes for a great leading line and curves around towards the tower. A filter to darken the sky would be useful, and perhaps a little more contrast overall. PJ sizzling hot. Yum. Perfectly cooked crackling that is great to keep a dentist busy. I would still be tempted. I like the perspective that puts the pork at the front and the good depth of field. You could eliminate the post at the left side in an open competition, but if entering in PJ, check the rules first, as this is not allowed. Breaking Dawn. An original concept that is difficult for me to fully process, as I feel there is something lost in the telling of your story and converting it into an image. It is interesting, however, and is worth pursuing as the reds draw me in. Awaiting the call to prayer. A close crop which has nice straight verticals. I feel I am slightly too close and would be more comfortable with a larger margin around the figure. I like the way the blues contrast against the cream of the wall, and maybe showing us the door on the left could have been an interesting addition to create a sense of space. Swallows, feeding time. Looks like Mum is busy and has a full-time job. The swallows show up well against a nice, simple and unobtrusive background that complements the golden colour of the throat feathers. Well presented. South Canterbury Hills. An impressive view, and I like how you have caught the snow beginning to melt as the browns help to show the contours of the slopes. The repeating layers of the ranges also give a progression to the composition. The whites are a little blue, and some colour management to neutralise the whites would help here. Littleton Marina. Movement has softened the image and used the repetition of the posts and the masts to create interest. It might be interesting to experiment and take the blur effect slightly further. The blues give a peaceful feel to the image. Sydney sunset. The sun is an arch and has also created its own glowing arch, which follows the contour of the bridge. The foreground trees frame the image, and there is a glimpse of the Opera House to the left. The sun is still fairly bright, and I can't help wondering what happened when the sun went down and the light softened even more. You would need a longer exposure and your tripod for this. Wild surf. The saturation and darkness of the purple sky is quite intense, but it does give a strong sense of drama to the stormy scene of the crashing waves. The light breaking through at the top balances the image, and I enjoy the spray from the crashing waves. Boo. A quirky reflection image that I can see strongly resembles a simplified face. The subject is nicely placed to one side, and the image is clean with no distractions. It made me smile. Sparrowhawk with prey. What a great subject to photograph, and tells the story about the falcon and his prey. I have seen how they strip all the feathers, and they seem to be particularly fond of keeping the local pigeon population under control here in Richmond. The blues need to be managed a little in need to be reduced a little in colour management. Flying machine. A creative image which looks good on the black background. It has straight lines which contain the circular element in the middle, and this contains a red focal point. There is a busy feel with lots of movement, which does start to make me feel slightly dizzy after a while. The Emperor's or Empress's new clothes. An intriguing image with interesting snippets of information once you start looking. The details in the centre may be clearer if lightened slightly, as the man walking out of frame and the lady with her finger pointing both have a story to tell. I feel cropping the right side up to the inside of the door frame, which gives you a group of 3 models, would improve the composition. Dawn at the beach. A very soft image made with ICM, which feels very peaceful. I wonder if the bottom dark area could be cropped, although this is a personal choice and could represent a journey from the dark to the light. My eye does wander around as there is no real focal point. Score 4, so this is the first of the high acceptances. Lost in Time, Monganui Beach. An image of contrasts which conveys to me the feeling of moving from darkness into the light with the promise of a new day or dawn. I like the softness the movement conveys and the way the light reflects off the cloud above. I feel it hits the sweet spot between light and movement. Monkey Creek. Monkey Creek in the Hollyford Valley is a stunning place, and the slow exposure has softened the water and captured the image well in the soft light. The soft pastels of the rocks and river lead us to the grandeur of the mountains as they tower above the valley. The subtle gold in the sky is well timed. Mossburn after the storm. I enjoyed all the elements that combined to make this image, which has a strong sense of space, good composition, and control of lighting. The dark clouds tower above the hills edged by the golden light, and the road recedes into the distance. The golden grass following the road edge makes a great leading line into your image. I liked this image more each time I viewed it. dusk at dusky. Layers of light and dark use the reflections to advantage. I like the filaments of cloud lying in the folds of the hills. A simple and peaceful image which I kept coming back to. Mabel. The angle of the goat's neck helps to reinforce the quizzical nature of his expression in this high-key image. The square crop suits, and I like the low viewpoint. Strike up the band. Using the reflection as the main subject has added a layer of interest in this well-composed image. The reds and golds with a touch of blue create a strong image, and while the crop is tight, everything is well balanced. Carcassonne by night. The blue light in the sky contrasts well with the golden lighting used to illuminate the old castle. I feel drawn towards the well-lit area under the arch, which leads us along the walls into the distance. It has an imposing presence. Score 5, so these are honours images. Winter joy. The exuberance of these dogs as they frolic in the fresh snow brings to this image a feeling of unrestrained joy and excitement. The snow is a good clean white and the image is well cropped. I like the way the central dog is semi-isolated and becomes an anchor or focal point. Black door. I am taken on a little journey as I travel through this well laid out, very graphic image. From the front, over the courtyard, and through the mysterious door, and then up into those moody clouds. I agree monotone was the only way to go. (24x7) production plant, Perth, Western Australia. I love the tones of silver in this monochrome image, which has turned the high contrast and a tight crop to an advantage. There is something almost hypnotizing about the shapes of the wraparound and the curved pipes in this image. And so score 6, best in show. Art at the Coca Gallery. A strong composition in the striking image which my mind immediately attempted to make sense of. It attracts me with its simplicity and strong sense of space and design, and it makes good use of repeating patterns and strong lines. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Janine, and we'll present the awards now if we can. Yep, she's just in the way. So first off, The Rose by Annette Preen. The Flames of Dawn by Brian Haybittle. On the Charge by Les Arman. The Future Champion by Ian Harrison. Trees at Winter's Approach by Raywin Wright. Paris by John Thornton. Sizzling Hot by J.K. Breaking Dawn by Jane Barnes. Awaiting the Call to Prayer by Alistair Phillips. Swallows Feeding Time by Tash Harris. South Canterbury Hills by John McCall. Littleton Marina by Dennis Chang. Sydney Sunset by Thyra Colsall. Wild Surf by Alan Moore. Boo by John Hawkins. Sparrow Hawk with Prey by Sue Newport. Okay. Flying Machine by Adrian Gentleman. The Empress New Clothes by Hitcham Kim. Dawn at the Beach by Anne Yuan. Lost in Time by John Ben. Sorry, that was a high acceptance, and this is also a high acceptance. Janine Money, Monkey Creek. Mossburn After the Storm by Kelly Haybittle. Dusk at Dusky by Karen Dance. Mabel by Joe Curtis. Strike Up the Band by Newell Greenfell. Carcassonne at Night by Ron Willems. And honours, we've got Winter Joy by Peter Curtis. Backdoor by Nola Sumner. That's nice, isn't it? Okay. 24/7 Production Plant by Karen McConchie. And Honours and Best in Show, Art at the Coca Gallery by Jan Bogue. Do you want to tell us a bit about the photo? Go on. Where is it?
This is the Coca.
Yep, talk away.
This is the Coca Gallery, which is on the side entrance to the art gallery, and I just saw the reflections in it, and I thought it was quite a nice graphic picture. Thank you.
We'll hand you back to Heidi.
Okay, thank you. That's absolutely amazing, Jan. Absolutely amazing. It's really, really cool. It's so clever the way the pictures follow through the centre line. So well balanced, isn't it? It's incredible. I could sit there and watch that for hours. Any other notices that anyone has that they'd like to bring forward? No? Okay, we'll just thank you to Andrew and Tim in the sound at the back. Thank you to Alistair on the projection. John, thank you for organising tonight's judges and the speeches and everything else. So we'll close then. Thanks everybody. Safe journey home, and we'll see you all next week. Thank you.